Thank you for tuning in to Hacks and Hobbies with your host, Junaid. In Season 2 of Hacks and Hobbies, we're visited by our amazing guests coming from all walks of life. We want to learn their story, their struggles, and their journey on how they got to where they are today. So stick around. In the last episode, we had an amazing conversation with Julia Turman, the founder of the 3E strategy: embrace, engage, and evolve. But for now, let's take a listen to Kenyatta Turner. In this episode, we get to chat with Kenyatta Turner. We connected and we're like, we're both on Facebook, we're both on LinkedIn, and we have so many different passions. I figured I'd bring her on and have a chat with her. So welcome, Kenyatta. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate being here. This is fun.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, let's see. How much time do we have? Probably not long enough, but I have a lot of different things that I'm interested in. I'm pretty excited about most things, but I am a Legal Shield associate, probably first and foremost, working with small business owners, families, employees, helping just educate them about services that can get them access to their constitutional rights, and protection from identity theft. So I do that primarily, but I'm also a teacher. I teach a GED success class at a community college, and I'm a trainer and
Nice.
and workshop facilitator and a musician. And I have a lot of different interests, but mainly they all circle usually around helping people in some kind of way or entertaining myself.
Nice. That's very important. So how did you get into being the instructor for GED success?
Oh, wow. Well, I've worked in colleges.
Like what brought about that?
Yeah, I worked in colleges for over 20 years, basically more on the administrative side, if you will. I ran the schools, director of admissions and career services, things like that. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
But when I left that industry by choice, I said there was more that I wanted to do in the world. And so I stepped away to seek that out. But I wound up missing working in schools. I miss the students more than anything. And this program is designed to help students who are ready to get their GEDs, and the seminar that I teach is required before they can go through those classes like the math and the science and all that. So I basically teach what I consider to be a personal development class to help their minds ready for the next stage. And so that's why I went back to teach. I love it because I feel like it's full circle for me now. I can go back and help them get prepared for their careers and their futures, whether or not the GED is in the path for them. But I really try to help them
Yeah.
determine that before they get too deep in it, basically.
Nice. That's very cool. I mean, education is definitely something that's on top of mind. I mean, I have three kids and
Mhm.
I want to make sure that they're well educated, and not only from the perspective of the required education, but also from the perspective of educating themselves into being better people, into being better human beings,
Yes.
meeting better people that help the community. How are you morally straight? Those kind of things are very, very high on my list as well.
Absolutely, and we spend a lot of time talking about that in that class. The class is only about 8 days, 8-day seminar that happens about once a month, and we spend a lot of time talking about what's the big picture.
Yeah.
Your GED is one thing, but what are we really talking about here, when it comes to why you might want it, what you intend to do, and whether or not it's the right thing for your path, because there's formal education
Yeah.
and then there's other types of education. So I spend a lot of time making sure that I share with them the opportunities that there are for them within the formal education system
Yeah.
and outside of it. What are they really trying to accomplish?
What makes them tick?
Yeah.
What's more passionate for them, right?
Yes.
Amazing. It also said that you're a speaker. So, and I'm guessing it's part of the being the instructor. Is that part of the speakership, or is there something other?
I believe that's part of it because obviously as an instructor, I I'm in front of the room a lot, right? For long periods of time with, without a script. So, and the class is really designed, for dialogue. I try to teach it that way. So it's a lot of two-way conversation in there, but a lot of sharing. But I'm also and have been a trainer for many, many years, a workshop facilitator, running departments. I've always been in that position of being in front of the room, which I absolutely enjoy. And I love sharing. I love talking. I'm a performer. I'm a speaker. I'm a musician, so those things are come very easy and natural to me. But more importantly, I really just like to share.
Nice.
So I've had some opportunities to do some presentations or share some content. Most recently, at the Hispanic Women's Corporation conference, they have a professional leadership institute just about a month or two ago. And that was a very fun speaking engagement where I talked
Nice.
to women. The topic I did was just because you have a job doesn't mean you know how to get one.
Right, right.
And that was an hour-long, talk that I did with them, and, that was a lot of fun. I would love to have the opportunity to do more speaking engagements like that, not necessarily related to GED or Legal Shield, but really just sharing, some of the things that I've learned in the course of my life working in education, building my own career, having been in charge of a career development department, having taught career development. That whole process, I'm very passionate about with the sense of just helping people build the type of life that they want, whether that be through a business, a career, hobbies, just whatever it is that they want to accomplish. If there's something that I've learned along the way to share with them that could help them, just like people have shared with me, the opportunity to present that is always fascinating to me. So that's where the speaking comes in. I'm looking forward to doing more of it.
That's really cool. I mean, recently I discovered Experts on Stage, and I'm not sure if you've heard of them,
Mm-mm, I have not.
but I think you should check it out.
Okay.
It's an excellent resource. They have several channels on Roku, and I'll let Glenn Garnes, describe more of it. I mean, I got into speaking a couple years back when I joined Toastmasters, but I really love the story that you're telling me and the experience that you had because, like you mentioned earlier, you came full circle into education, and it's really amazing to see it from a different side, right?
Hmm.
Once, like for example, when you start working in a certain department or certain area in life, it's only that one perspective you have of it. Then when you get more assimilated, more accustomed to it, and then eventually you're like, "All right, I'm bored of this. I want to try something different."
Right.
And then when you try something different, you're like, you know what? I see that role that I was playing from a totally different perspective now. I
Hmm.
want to be on the other side of giving and teaching because you've done the administration.
Yes.
Now you're doing the teaching part. So it's really amazing. And as human beings, we love telling stories and we love telling people what we've learned. And it's really interesting because a lot of people say I'm an introvert versus I'm an extrovert, but when it all comes down to it's about how comfortable am I talking about what I love, because an introvert or somebody might be an introvert,
Mm.
but when they're up on stage talking about something that they love, people think that they're an extrovert.
You're right.
It's really interesting how when you tickle that area of your brain that you just absolutely love and love to talk about, it's really cool. And that's why YouTube and podcasts are growing so fast, because YouTube enabled people to create videos without them having to face a whole bunch of people, giving them immediate feedback.
Mm.
um it's in the comfort of my own room, in the comfort of my own home. I can create these videos, I can teach people of what I know, even though I'm an introvert, but I love teaching. So that's why these platforms are growing so fast. I mean, Facebook is so huge because people can be introverts and just browse their little timeline without being pinpointed at or finger pointed at.
I think you make an excellent point there, and it's a great way to look at it because you're right. When people they do have that story to tell, they really want the opportunity to tell it,
Hmm.
and most people have that, deathly fear of doing that in front of other people. Public speaking, they say, I think, is one of the top 2 things people fear more, more than death. I mean, it's right up there with death, right?
Exactly.
To speak in front of a crowd of people, but to speak in front of a camera, just record it or just your voice and then just upload. You're right. There's no feedback. No one's looking at you, at the moment that you're doing it. And you really can just have that platform and what seemingly is a safer zone,
Exactly.
for those who may never step on stage and do that, but they have so much to say and so much to share.
Yes.
And it's just awesome that they can find a way to do it within that comfort zone, even though it's still pushing them a little bit out of the comfort zone, but at least they can do it
Mhm.
when they might not have ever had another way. We've never would have heard their voices.
Exactly. And then you can also look at blogs and Tumblr and Instagram where you're just capturing photos, you capturing words and people writing books, right? These are, bookworms.
Right,
I don't want to name names or
right.
put them in categories, but
No, right.
but that's their comfort zone and that's how they're able to write and create content to share their knowledge. I mean, that's why we have so many different mediums in getting content out and getting people known for what they're good at.
Mhm.
Very cool. So you said that you don't have one specific hobby
No,
that you love. You have a ton of them.
I have probably too many.
So I know it's so much easier to say I have a ton of hobbies, but if you were to isolate, right, and bring it all to like one, I guess one thing or a couple of things that maybe relate together, because a lot of the things, I'm not trying to box you in, but I'm just trying to say
Mhm,
there's a lot of things that mesh together like really good. And for me, it's video production and creating content. And the reason I started a podcast is because it's a lot less overhead of work to do to create podcasts. But then the reason I like video is because it involves speaking, it involves preparation, it involves lighting, it involves so many different things coming together to make that one product. So what's one thing that if you were to combine multiple things together, what would that be if you had the opportunity to do it?
hmm, one thing that I combine multiple things together.
I mean, I think you're already doing it with teaching the class.
Mhm, yeah, a little bit of that. I think that, we were talking about that whole concept of being right brain versus left brain.
Hmm.
And, what that can really mean, and it's just as a general sense, right? And they say that typically left brain, people who use more of their left brain, that hemisphere, technically oriented, they're analytical, logical,
Yeah.
rows and columns, right? Is kind of how their brains might work. And then the other side being the right side, maybe where it's more creative and innovative and, entertainment and exciting. And I ride the line between both of those. I'm a very
Hmm.
artistic person, but I'm a very technical
Hmm.
person and very analytical. And things that can merge those things together for me
Yeah.
is probably going to be the most satisfying for me because I just want to know how things work. I want to take them apart and put them back together,
Yeah.
but I also want to be creative in that. So once I take it apart and take it apart and put it back together, then I might be thinking about, well, what color do we paint it? Now that it's put back together, how do we market it? Should we put sprinkles on it? Or what? What does that look like?
Yeah.
And I think that so anything that allows me to have both those sides is probably the perfect thing. To simplify it, when I have a chance to be creative, that I think is where I'm really in my element. But because I'm technical, I wanna know the inner workings and maybe have a lot more detail involved in it. So for instance, I guess one hobby I'm having right now is learning how to use the platforms that I want to, grow my business, grow my profession, grow myself. So learning how to film videos and, use filters and what about the editing? Like, I'm curious. I could maybe have someone do all that for me, but that side of me,
Sure.
it goes, "Well, wait, I wanna do it. I wanna do how can I make this on my own?" And so I'm learning a lot right now with these various social media platforms and, like I said, with video and, just really being creative there. And to pick just one side, well, I love music. So that is a hobby of mine. Lately, I've actually been enjoying karaoke a lot. So that has given me a creative outlet that, it really is a stress reliever for me, and I'm not playing any instruments. I'm not in a band right now like I have been in the past.
Yeah,
And so but I'm finding my own creativity and the technical side because karaoke has me singing other people's music, not just my own,
that's right.
not things I've written. So I'm learning, vocally pushing and stretching myself in ways that I never really have before, and, again, giving me the opportunity to be creative. So but I'm all over the place, really. When it comes to certain things, I could program computers and work on cars and, um, you know, a little bit of everything is for me, and I think that's also probably a blessing and a curse.
No, absolutely. At that, I'm in the same boat
Mhm,
like you. I can work on cars. I love music. I listen to music. I like to create music, but I have no idea where to start. I mean, I kind of know where to start, but
mhm.
I don't have that artistic talent that most people can, just pick up a guitar and start strumming through or Hello, Hacks and Hobbies listeners. Are you looking to share your opinions, give me feedback, or tell me what you're thinking? Send me a voice message. Voice messages are an easy way for you to send me audio that might end up in future episodes of Hacks and Hobbies. They're the latest feature from Anchor, the platform I use to make this podcast. Here are some of the things I would love to hear from you. Are you enjoying the direction the podcast has taken for season 2? Is there someone I can interview that will absolutely help you gain more knowledge? What do you think of the different topics that I talk about on the podcast with my guests? You can send me a voice message right now from wherever you're listening. Just tap the link in my show notes. I can't wait to hear from you. I mean, I come up with music with my mouth
Okay, there you go. That's the start.
and have, but I'm like, okay, what? But I don't know what notes that is, right?
When I can't read music at all. So that's so that's one thing, neither do I. I can hear it, but I can't read it. Well, and the beautiful part is that if you have any of that type of interest, right, you have the capability to learn it.
Yes.
And so it's probably maybe for you narrowing it down like, what instrument would I like to play?
Yeah,
Picking that one and then obviously, taking some lessons or something like that. I mean,
exactly.
with that growth mindset, we can learn anything, right? And but you have those interests, and so you have to put those on the list. We have to check
Exactly.
them off,
And that's the other thing, right? Yeah.
prioritize.
Prioritizing is very important because we can have so many different hobbies and different things to do, but there's only 24 hours in a day. I love doing video and doing the podcast, but then I know that I have uh, a full-time job and I've got commute, so I can definitely, create content. I can definitely create and record video but then what it comes down to is okay, now I've got to sit down and take more time out and actually edit this content together. And like you're mentioning, right, you want to learn how to do all the video editing and video creating on your smartphone or on your laptop or wherever. But then that
Mhm,
takes that additional time. And if you have the time, right, you can learn and you can apply those and actually get it out there. And with the new smartphones, our new smartphones, and there's so many apps available right now that it's so much easier to do now.
mhm,
And some of the things that you can see, like for example, Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat, they've made creating that video content so much easier. Like the default screen on Snapchat is a camera. Like you launch the app and you directly into a camera. You can press the button and start recording, and voila, right? Just like that.
just like that.
And initially, what they did is they limited those clips to be 10 seconds long. But now, over time, they've added more functionality to the app, and now you can record up to a minute long video, and then you have the ability to trim down that video to pick the perfect um, um, clip that you might want and then post that part again.
Mhm,
The target audience or the purpose of each of these applications is very different from one person to the other person, and which audience and which type of people they're serving the application. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of things, and that's one of the things that I'm doing. I took the 30-day challenge, 30 days of video challenge, which I started over 60 days ago, and I still haven't finished because
Okay.
there's so many things, right? I've so far I've done like 12 videos, and I'm working on more of the videos to come together. And so the first set of videos, first 10 videos were all about what are the different things you want to do or think about when you're creating your videos.
Okay.
Those basic things, the lighting, you got have the good audio, which orientation you want to choose, what's the purpose of the video, preparing and all that stuff. And then to the next set of videos is all going to be about which apps can you use,
Oh, cool.
right? What apps do which apps does what? What different filters can you use in different apps? And those are also based on the different types of applications or different types of phone that might you have, how they would work and come together.
Well, I was gonna tell you, I've been finding this, when you talk about, like, the challenges, of so many days in a row kind of thing, especially for someone like myself who hasn't done a lot of video, but I'm excited to learn, of course, like I mentioned, and I've been working on, I did a video campaign on LinkedIn, the 10 tips in 10 days. That was really my first kind of throwing
Nice.
myself in there going, "Okay, are you really gonna just do this? Are you really gonna do a video every day for 10 days?" You know?
Yeah.
And that was kind of
Yeah, exactly.
intimidating for me, but then I started having fun with it.
Yeah.
And then I was finding what you're talking about, the time it takes not only to film it, to
Hmm.
then kind of edit it, then put it up, and then thinking about what am I going to do?
Yes.
What are the 10 tips? I have to think that through. Well, now I'm working on one and I have the topic is easy. I'm doing top 15 areas of law. I just filmed number 9.
Nice.
And so it's it's one of those things where figuring out what's gonna be for me, what's gonna be in the background. I'm very creative. Some people tell me, "Kenyatta, look, just put the camera in front of your face and put it close enough to your face so it doesn't really matter what's happening in the background because that's what they're gonna be paying attention to you."
Yeah.
But in my mind, I'm like, "Well, that might be true, but
Hmm.
what about if in the background, they can see this or this or this, you know?" And so for me, I'm like, what about to me, it's that whole package, what's happening in the video,
It is.
and I'd like to put things in there that I think maybe one person might notice,
Yeah.
and I might never know they noticed, but I knew it was there with intent, you
Right.
So that's where the fun and the creativity comes into me, where I have to rein myself in and go, "Okay, look, Kenyatta, you just need to film this video and get you have other things to do right now."
Yes.
That's so
Yes.
hard. But the tools and things, so I'm excited to take a look at some of these videos that you've been putting out so I can learn,
Yeah.
these apps and things. So I'm very excited about that.
And that's the idea. And, because, every single person has a smartphone. And these smartphones are so powerful now. They can do so many things. I mean, the newest phones and even 2-year old phones can do 4K video. I mean, we don't even have 4K TVs as popular yet in our homes, but we can record 4K video, which captures every single detail on your face or even the environment that you're capturing.
Right.
And they have multiple microphones so they can either block out the sound. I mean, one of the cool things about these smartphones is once you put the phone to your head, it's only recording your audio and it's canceling out additional audio that's
Right.
around you,
Right. That
right?
I just got the new iPhone, and I'm blown away by that right there, what you just said.
Hmm.
I I couldn't when I heard it, I said, "Wait a minute." It sounded like it was really loud where I was, and I was concerned.
Yeah.
And then I did a little take, and I went back and listened to it, and I was like, "Wait a minute. I can't really hear everything that I can hear." When I could really just hear my own audio, and it was kind of muffled in the background, not really distracting, not in a way where I felt like I needed to relocate.
Yes.
I thought I could pull it off right there where I was, and it worked. So you're
Yeah. It's
very cool.
Yeah, it's getting, and the phones are getting smarter and smarter, where the phone now knows, there's a face in this image that I'm recording. And when the audio that I'm recording, I'm going to capture only audio coming from this face or
Hmm.
this person. and everything else will be all automatically canceled out. So they're just gonna get even smarter, as we go. And with software and machine learning, these things are learning and getting better every day.
Fun with filters and all kinds of stuff.
And especially with the new iPhone and the Clips app, you can do so many more things. It's mind blowing, and I think that's the next video that I'm going to do on talking about this Clips app that Apple put out, and it's designed for creating short, simple videos where you can add so many more things to the video just through this app. And they've got these virtual backgrounds, so it isolates your person from the background, and you could be
Mhm.
in totally different environments just through the app.
So I have to tell you that I just found that feature
Hmm.
with the video that I was editing this morning, and I'm going to be posting it after we are talking, so you will get to see it. And I found it, and I found it on accident.
Awesome.
I mean, because I used the Clips app, and I just tapped, and I said, "What's
Like,
this?"
what's the scenes?
And I was like, "Oh my god." And then again, I'm like, "Wait, I don't have time for this,"
Yes, I
because it
know.
was so much fun, and so I picked one. I won't tell you which one,
Yeah.
but you will see it.
Awesome.
It's ready to go, and so now I'm like, "Oh, like, I really need this in my life." Yes, I do.
Absolutely.
So you're absolutely right. The technology that gives me the ability to be creative.
Yeah.
I want both. I need
Yes.
both, and that's how my brain works, and these things are providing it for me, so it's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you found the feature that I'm going to tell everybody about later. And it's really cool, and playing with this with these tools and what's available to us, it's just amazing.
Absolutely.
We do want to tell our audience where they can find you.
Okay, this is the official part, right? Well, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn as Kenyatta Turner, and I have a Facebook page for my business for Legal Shield. So it's Kenyatta Turner, Legal Shield Independent Associate. That is my Facebook page. I have a Twitter, which is my name as well, Kenyatta Turner, and I think it's pretty easy to find. I am on Instagram. It's Kenyatta Turner. I keep it simple, Kenyatta Turner. I know a lot of people have that name, so I just kind of go with
Yeah.
it. So if you look at it, I can tell you how it's spelled, KenyattaTurner. And so, yeah, so Instagram,
All right.
LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook are the platforms I guess I spend most of my time on. And
Perfect.
if someone was interested in learning more about what I do specifically with Legal Shield and identity theft protection, then you can go to kenyattaturner.wearelegalshield.com. That's kenyattaturner.wearelegalshield.com to learn more about the services that I offer to families and business owners to help protect them.
Perfect. And I'll also be including these links to the show notes so they can just boom, click
Oh, please.
and get connected with you, Kenyatta.
I will be on YouTube soon.
Awesome.
Everyone tells me I'm supposed to do that. So, now that I have these videos, they say, "Hey, why aren't you on YouTube?" I said, "I don't know." I have a channel, but I've never posted anything.
So let me tell you a secret about something about YouTube, okay?
Please.
So YouTube's been around for almost a decade, right? And if you imagine getting on YouTube 10 years ago, being active, you build a following.
Mhm.
LinkedIn is at that same stage right now with video. So if you're getting into video right now, start with LinkedIn,
Okay.
because number one, it's a professional network. You have thousands of people connected to you already. And when you post content on LinkedIn, you kind of have an audience built up that know Kenyatta. And when they see your content, they're like, hey, I know her. And then they start commenting, they start engaging. YouTube's not there yet, especially for somebody starting new. Now, as you're putting content together on LinkedIn, you can definitely put that same content or edited content on YouTube
Okay.
and build up the audience there. So you start with LinkedIn because all of us are starting fresh. So LinkedIn is a great platform to start with video. In fact, Goldie Chan just created a LinkedIn learning video lesson,
Mm,
thanks to help with LinkedIn, and how to do all of that. In fact, I would recommend that you become an instructor on LinkedIn Learning. That's another
mm,
form of revenue that you can generate. I'm not sure how all of that works, but They have a little form I can share with you,
Sure, please.
where you can set up and say, hey, I want to be I can teach this type of information to the audience. And then I'm not sure how many applications to get per day.
Of course.
It's a great place to, again, build your audience, build your content.
And that's excellent content there. I've watched several of those
Yes.
little classes. I watched a few by Goldie. I'm glad you mentioned that
Yes.
because there's some things that she did that taught me some of the things I've been trying just conceptually,
Oh yeah.
learning from that. And I just recently watched one from Guy Kawasaki.
Oh my God, he is amazing.
I think he's the founder of Canva, and I
Yes.
watched an entire series that he did about how to rock social media. I think is what it was called.
Hmm.
And it was amazing, and I'm thinking
Yeah,
there's so much value out there,
there is.
and it's amazing, and I didn't know that you could actually apply to be an instructor on LinkedIn Learning, so that's very interesting, so,
Hmm.
yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely. Well, Kenyatta, this is really awesome chatting with you. I wish you the best
Thank you.
in accomplishing your goals and your 2019 goals.
And thank you for having me on. This is so much fun. I appreciate it. I'm glad that we connected through the Misfits. I think it was through the Facebook or the LinkedIn. And, we had a chat and said,
Hmm.
hey, let's get together on this podcast. So I appreciate you having me on. Definitely an honor. And best of luck to you. I look forward to seeing you on LinkedIn and, continuing to build this relationship. This is great.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay. Take care. Bye bye.
In the next episode, we get to speak with Grayson Scott, a UX designer turned filmmaker. He's recently started a podcast and he talks all about how to come up and how to create a movie. So tune in again to listen to Grayson Scott. Thank you for listening to Hacks and Hobbies. You can find additional information on the guest today on the website hacksandhobbies.com. Please feel free to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss out on upcoming interviews with amazing guests.